So while we saw that the 5G networks are being deployed, we also thought that we should look at what's coming up in the next few years as well, because the innovation continues, and innovation continues also to make those networks monetizable, right? So, but let's look at first what I'm going to cover is what do we see as being important for the evolution of 5G, as seen by the vendors, as CSPs. What does it mean from the consumer's perspective? I would like to share what we think from Nokia side are the important aspects of the 5G evolution. And I also want to go back to the reality that we absolutely need to create that revolution that we need as an industry to monetize the assets which create such a tremendous value for the whole mankind. So if you start and look at what are the important 5G advanced features as seen by the CSPs and the vendors as well, you can group them whichever way you want, but the reality, it starts today with enhanced energy efficiency, driven by the sustainability goals, but also by the financial reality of the increased price of the energy, right? Then enhanced mobility, followed by support for non-traditional device types like VR and XR, enhanced uplink performance efficiency, and so on and so on. This is source of this is an OBDIA study of 2023 where they combined all these views from CSPs and vendors. And when you look at from the consumer side, the drivers for deploying, again, is performance, efficiency, and enterprise. Where when you look at it from the Nokia's perspective, our views are pretty much aligned with that we call them slightly different. So we think that the 5G Advanced, and by the way, just to define, the 5G Advanced here in this context is what's coming in Release 18 and Release 19 of 3GPP, but also a little bit broader of the capabilities of the 5G, which will be realized through various activities, such as the opening up the networks to developers that we saw in the previous session, right? That's all what we see as a 5G Advanced. So now, if we look at there are three actually categories. It's experience, operability, and creating new experiences or use cases out there. We've seen launch of notable XR devices out there that will create the uplink performance requirements, which even with existing 5G networks, we can't meet. That's the reality. So we need those capabilities for uplink performance boost, and those are being standardized, and they will be deployed, right? Then operability, a drive for a sustainable efficiency in operating the networks is just about a must from the financial reality perspective. AI, ML enhancements that are a must, as well as like continuous improvement in the run energy efficiency. And then we're looking at how do we create a range of new devices out there, enable a range of new devices that would connect to 5G and 5G Advanced through features like RedCap that we hope will create that kind of flurry of IoT-enabled devices out there. UAV, a big thing. I think it's in here. This can be actually aerial vehicles, but it can. Some of the concepts can be also expanded to the other autonomous vehicles as well. And then non-terrestrial networks. We see a growing demand for a hybrid cellular and non-cellular type of deployments out there. This is what we think that the 5G Advanced will bring. But going back to reality, we need a return on substantial investments in 5G before we can go and take the next steps. That's why the previous discussion that happened with my colleagues and the discussions that we're going to hear later are extremely important for us as an industry. The innovation relies on a capability to get the maximum return on investment on the existing investment as well. And here we're also quoting Analysis Mason here in their research on deriving value from telecom networks beyond CPaaS. Now, some of the early capabilities that when I say like what we should do already with 5G networks before even going to 5G advanced is to open up to the application, embed the capabilities of the network into application. We heard earlier from the speakers, I think the industry is picking up. What we have done in that context is enablement of the applications, which I'm going to share in a minute. But in order to go forward as an industry and transform to capitalize on the new capabilities, there are clearly the normal foundational type of activities, which is evolve to 5G advanced concept, security, massive MIMO, all those capabilities, new semiconductors, and so on. But the more important is like transformational ones, consumability, intent-based operations, new devices, support for edge. Those are the new use cases which will create that value for the relevant industries that will enable our industry to capture the value over there. But as I was saying, like what we did from the point of view of opening up the current 5G networks, just an example, this is a very simple example. This is done with a partner in US where you could embed as part of application a capability to modify slice where the network is associated with. Here we're talking about like application calls and says, well, I need higher uplink or higher bitrate in general. I don't know exactly which case was here in these pictures, but it was an instantaneous change of the quality of service of that particular application from 20-something megabit per second to 100-something megabit per second in a call that was made directly from application. And these capabilities are really essential to open up the networks to those developers there. This is just one example. These are many that we have seen also from the industry overall. So just key takeaways, I think, for 5G advanced, expand the 5G foundation, improve the cost efficiency, enable the use cases, but let's open up those networks to the developers. And we'll see more tomorrow in Open Gateway DevCon. I hope many of you will join. And with this, I'll end my presentation. Thank you very much.